The following video was captured by a home security camera mounted in the corner of a living room where everything initially looks completely ordinary. The TV is on, casting that familiar blue glow across the room, and a small black dog is near the sofa when, without any obvious trigger, it suddenly starts barking. Not playful barking, not the kind of reaction you'd expect from someone approaching the house. It's aggressive, frantic, and the dog appears completely focused on something just outside the camera's view. It moves nervously between the sofa and coffee table before suddenly bolting toward the other side of the room. Watch. The strange part isn't simply that the dog starts barking, it's where it's looking. Its head and body seem to track something that isn't visible on the recording, almost as though it's following something moving through the room. There are obviously normal explanations. Dogs can hear sounds far beyond our hearing range, detect smells we can't, or react to tiny movements and reflections that a security camera completely misses. But paranormal believers would tell you to watch the dog itself. Animals have long been associated with the ability to sense spirits, and dogs in particular are often said to react to unseen presences before humans notice anything. If that's what we're seeing here, then the frantic barking may not have been random at all. It may have been reacting to something standing right there in the room with it. And whatever it was, the dog seemed scared enough to run from it. In this next clip, a man explores what looks like a completely abandoned building, dark hallways, graffiti-covered walls, and the kind of suffocating silence that makes every small sound feel enormous. He's already uneasy before anything happens, mentioning out loud that he feels itchy and uncomfortable, like something in the environment itself is pushing back against his being there. Daylight filters in through distant windows, but the interior stays dark enough that his flashlight barely cuts through it. Then things start happening fast. Watch.
I'm feeling so itchy. I'm not liking it. I'm getting very uncomfortable right now. This is crazy.
Almost immediately, a door at the far end of the hallway creaks open on its own. Nobody near it, nothing to explain it. He bolts. Then, while navigating a lower level, he shines his flashlight down a long corridor, and you can see it. A dark, humanoid figure, standing motionless at the far end before he panics and runs again. A door slams from somewhere unseen while he's trying to force another one open. And then comes the scream, high-pitched, distorted, not quite right in the way human screams are. The figure in the hallway is what most viewers keep returning to. Some believe it's residual energy attached to the building, a presence that doesn't know it's being observed. Skeptics argue the darkness and the shaky camera make it easy to see shapes that aren't there. But that scream is harder to dismiss. Whatever produced it, it didn't sound like anything that belongs in an empty building. In this next clip, a group of friends decided to go exploring underneath what locals call the Suicide Bridge at 3 a.m., walking the concrete path beneath the arches, phone in hand, the street lamps casting just enough light to make the shadows feel deeper. It's the kind of place most people avoid after dark. Listen closely. Somewhere around the 3-second mark, Underneath the sound of footsteps on gravel, a faint, breathy whisper surfaces, high-pitched and pleading, what sounds unmistakably like, "Please come back." Many believe certain locations carry residual energy tied to tragedy, and that the voices of those who died there can sometimes still be heard. You decide whether what's on this footage is the wind, or something that hasn't left yet. In this next clip, two men named Mike and Sam, members of a paranormal group called Viper Paranormal, are out on the Cruzy property in Lynchburg, Virginia, on the night of January 29th at around 10:45 p.m., attempting to make contact with whatever they believe is out there. The footage is captured on a stationary night vision camera, giving everything that distinctive green tint, and from the start, Mike is already shaken, breathing heavy, telling the camera he's never seen anything like what just happened. Sam's camera dies unexpectedly, right in the middle of their investigation, which Mike responds to by telling him to check the K2 meter. Then Sam catches movement near the tree line to the right. Watch.
This is Sam and Mike with Viper Paranormal. We're here on the Cruzy property. It's January 29th, about 10:45 p.m. My name is Mike. This is my friend Sam. Hello. We don't mean any disrespect. We're only here to learn and communicate. This may be your last opportunity to communicate with anyone.
Right when you asked that last question, the camera just died.
Really? Was it charged?
Yeah, it was fully charged. I mean, I K2, check the K2. Something over there?
I haven't seen anything, bro.
Dude, something moved over there, I swear. Wait, it's moving.
Whoa! Where's it at?
A pale, semi-transparent humanoid figure lunges from behind a tree on the right and tears across the frame from right to left, passing directly behind Mike, fast enough that you almost miss it. Both men scatter immediately. Some viewers think the figure is genuine residual energy captured on film. Skeptics, though, point to something unusual at the end of this clip. The footage cuts directly to an advertisement for a paranormal conference where Viper Paranormal were scheduled to present a talk specifically about hoaxes and frauds. So what exactly were Mike and Sam promoting that night? The following video was shared by a mother who in 2017 lost her 3-year-old daughter, Jada, and what makes this footage so difficult to set aside isn't a shadow, a figure, or a door swinging on its own. It's something far quieter than that. Her 15-month-old daughter was lying in her crib early one morning, captured on a night vision baby monitor from above, just playing on her own the way toddlers do, rolling around, giggling, completely in her own little world. According to the mother, she had never once spoken to this baby about her older sister. At 15 months old, there was simply no reason to yet. The family mentioned Jada's name around the house, yes, but never directly to her, never in any way that would suggest this infant understood who they were talking about. Listen closely. At around the 50-second mark, the baby lets out a soft giggle and then makes a vocalization that sounds like a 2-syllable name. It's easy to brush that one off. Toddlers babble constantly, and the sound is close enough to dada that doubt creeps in. But then at almost exactly the 2-minute mark, she does it again, and this time it's considerably clearer, a sound that many who've heard it describe as unmistakably Jida, spoken in a small, conversational tone, as if she's simply greeting someone in the room with her. Some believe young children, especially infants and toddlers, exist closer to what some traditions describe as the threshold between the living and the spirit world, that they haven't yet learned to filter out presences that older people can no longer perceive. Others think the mind naturally finds familiar patterns in ambiguous sound, and that grief can sharpen that tendency. Both explanations are real, and neither one is easy to dismiss. What makes the second clip even harder to set aside is the mother's follow-up. Watch.
Hello. Okay, so this is a question that I have gotten several times. So obviously we talk about her often, just like my family, my son. So he was 5 whenever she passed away. So he remembers her, he knows about her, we talk about her a lot. And so does my family, but I've never talked to her directly about her. She's only 15 months, so obviously I do plan to tell her about her, eventually show her pictures, videos, and all that. With her being only 15 months old, it's not something that I've even thought about doing it. So she's probably heard us mention her name, but I don't even know that she would know what we were talking about or who she is or anything like that. So that is what makes it kind of even crazier is I've never talked to her about her or anything like that. And actually, after I posted this, the next day, I did show her a picture of Jada, and she smiled so big. I was like, Jada! So it's just so crazy. I honestly think I'm still just in shock. It obviously makes me very emotional, but it's just crazy, and I just have to believe that is what it is.
After posting the video, she showed her 15-month-old a photograph of Jada the next day, a sister this baby had never been introduced to, never shown a picture of, and according to the mother, the baby smiled wide and said her name clearly. She describes still being in shock, and you can hear it in her voice. Whether this is a coincidence, a child's developing speech landing on a familiar syllable, or something that can't be explained by either of those things, that's a question this mother says she's already made peace with answering for herself. This next clip comes from a baby monitor recording in a child's bedroom, captured just after midnight on May 20th of 2026. The kind of footage parents check in the morning expecting to find nothing unusual. The room is still, the girl is settled in bed near the headboard, and everything looks exactly the way it should at that hour. Then she makes a sound. Watch. That low, guttural moan doesn't sound like a child half asleep. It sounds like something else entirely, something that doesn't fit the small body it's coming from. She pops her head up from behind the nursing pillow and stares directly into the camera with those wide, glowing eyes. then vanishes back under the covers, then surfaces again. Some parents who've seen footage like this believe children are simply more sensitive to whatever shares a space with them at night, that they're responding to something the camera can't quite capture. Others think the vocalization alone is worth paying attention to, the kind of sound that gets harder to explain the more times you replay it. What would you do if this was on your baby monitor? The following video was recorded by a man who had recently moved into an old house built back in 1912, a property with enough history behind it to already make him uneasy before anything strange even started happening. According to him, the previous tenant had suddenly left without much explanation, and after settling in, he began experiencing odd disturbances throughout the house that pushed him into researching the property's past. During a late-night spirit box session, one word reportedly kept coming through over and over again: fire. After digging deeper, he discovered that the basement of the house had been the site of an accidental fire sometime around 1965, a detail that suddenly made the atmosphere in the home feel a lot heavier. Then one night, while standing in a lit room looking down a dark hallway, he caught this on camera. Watch.
Look, it's my hand.
At the far end of the hallway, a guitar begins to sway on its own, slowly at first, before the movement starts growing stronger. Skeptics pointed toward possible drafts or airflow as the most logical explanation. But what unsettled viewers was how the motion seemed to build, almost like something unseen kept interacting with it. Paranormal theories surrounding old homes often connect fires to lingering energy, especially when the event was sudden or traumatic. Some believe places marked by tragedy can hold on to fragments of that moment for decades, replaying themselves through unexplained sounds, movement, or disturbances tied to certain parts of the house. And considering the repeated mention of fire during the spirit box session, many viewers think whatever is in that hallway may be connected to what happened in the basement all those years ago. Whatever started the movement, he never found the source. In this next clip, someone is walking through a property called the Green Manor, an old house with narrow winding staircases, dark reddish walls, a library with built-in shelves, and an upstairs room lined with antique dolls. And from the moment they point the camera at a teal wooden door in the hallway, something feels off. The door is slightly ajar, and the vintage oval doorknob on its brass backplate just sits there, still and quiet, the way doorknobs are supposed to. But then it starts to move. Watch. The knob jiggles, turns clockwise, and a sharp metallic click rings out as the latch fully disengages and the door swings open on its own. Nobody's on the other side. The person filming then pushes through, climbs the creaking staircase, and when they reach the top, they pan into a side room where a full church pew is lined end to end with at least a dozen porcelain dolls just sitting there, staring. Some people who've seen this footage think the doorknob moment is consistent with what's sometimes called a residual haunting, the idea that a location can essentially record repeated actions, like opening a door, and replay them without any conscious intent behind them. Others think something at the Green Manor is far more aware than that, pointing to the way the latch fully releases, a deliberate mechanical sequence, not just a rattle. Whether it's residual energy or something with intention, you be the judge. In this next clip, a family arrives at what looks like a spacious hotel suite. A large, well-lit room with high vaulted ceilings, a stone fireplace, a loft area, and a balcony with plenty of natural light coming through. Nothing about the space looks threatening, but the moment they reach the doorway of room 24, something happens that none of them were prepared for. Watch.
Come on, Mama.
Oh, she don't like this one. Wasn't expecting that. Dang, Big Mama. Is there something in here? We rebuke it, Kai Kai. We rebuke it. She said,
There's an upstairs?
Yeah. Yeah. There's shit on the toilet.
That's where you and Dad sleeping?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, not good.
There's nothing.
Yes, it is.
What?
Close it. I'll pull out bed. This is so nice.
You welcome. I hope y'all like it. I hope y'all got some energy because we're gonna be up all night.
She immediately starts screaming, "No," crying loudly, and pulling away from the room, and she doesn't stop for the entire clip. What makes this so hard to dismiss is that the girl didn't calm down. There's a belief, fairly common in paranormal communities, that young children, especially toddlers, are far more sensitive to presence than adults, because they haven't yet learned to rationalize away what they're feeling. You decide what that little girl was sensing at that doorway. Now in this next clip, a man is out in his shed during the day working on tools when he notices something that stops him cold. A sound coming from a dark attic space above a storage closet he says he's never once been up into. He grabs his phone and starts filming himself, panning the camera around the cluttered shed before pulling open a narrow closet door to show what's inside. Listen closely.
Me or not, I don't care, but listen to this. I'm out in the shed working on tools. Listen. Dude, I swear to God, there's something up in this attic, man. I'm not getting up in here and shit. Do you hear that? Dude, oh my God, bro. Oh my God, man. There's something in this neighborhood, dude. Oh my God. Dude, I don't know what to do in a situation like this. Do you hear this shit, man? This thing was built before I bought this house, man. I've never gone up here one time. What the fuck was that, man? There's stuff. left from the previous owner. Oh my God, dude. Oh.
If you listen closely, you'll hear a baby crying, and it happens not once but multiple times, getting clearer and closer each time. The man's reactions are hard to fake. He slams the door, shouts, opens it again, keeps asking if you can hear it too. Then, when he finally works up the nerve to climb the ladder and hold the camera up into that dark space, the last sound he catches, right before the camera drops, is a clean, unmistakable cry of a baby coming from somewhere deep in that darkness. Some viewers think he has squatters in there, which, honestly, isn't impossible. Whatever was up there, he didn't stick around long enough to find out. So what do you think was making that sound? Now in this next clip, a paranormal investigator from Lakeshore Paranormal is in the basement of an old property at night, standing beneath a single bare bulb that cuts harsh shadows across the cinder block walls and exposed ceiling joists. He's got a spirit box scanning in one hand and what appears to be a detection device in the other, the constant static of the scanner cycling through frequencies filling the silence around him. He glances around the space, listening, waiting. Watch.
I can only leave until you give me a sign.
Movement back there. Shadow. Shadow like came out from the where the heater is and went back the other way. I got it on video. You can see it. It was short. It was just like a shadow that came out from there.
Are you down here?
A shadow moved from right to left. What immediately sparked debate online was the way the figure seemed to move with shape and direction, not like a flicker of light or camera distortion, but like something physically crossing. Some viewers argued it could simply be a reflection caused by someone walking past a nearby window, but according to the investigators, they were completely alone on the property that night, with no one else inside or outside the building during the investigation. So if no one else was on that property that night, then what exactly walked behind him? Now, in this next clip, someone is moving through a pitch-black house in the middle of the night, using nothing but a flashlight to cut through the darkness ahead of him. According to him, before he even started recording, he had already been hearing strange noises somewhere deeper inside the house, sounds unusual enough that he decided to grab his camera and trace where they were coming from. At first, he expected to find something simple, maybe a window left open, or an animal moving around inside the walls. But instead, he found this. Watch.
Right. Second date. It's been okay so far, but... What? This is what I mean. Crazy shit. Is it like... Hello? Oh my Oh shit. Phone's upstairs. Oh my I clear I'm leaving lights on. Look at this. I swear to
The lights suddenly begin flickering violently, throwing unstable flashes across the hallway, and just as he turns toward the staircase, something can be seen moving on the stairs, a dark shape shifting in the shadows before disappearing again. Some viewers believe the flickering lights could point toward electrical issues in an older property, but others focused entirely on the figure near the staircase, especially because in many old traditions, spirits or entities were said to linger near staircases because they symbolized movement between worlds, especially in darkened homes where visibility is limited and the human mind struggles to fully process shapes in shadow. So what do you think was waiting at the top of those stairs? The following video was recorded inside a home that's over 100 years old, using an old camera set up by a young man who was home alone and had noticed something he couldn't explain. Every time he left the room to vacuum, he'd come back and find the same bifold closet door standing wide open. No one else in the house, no obvious draft, nothing to account for it. So instead of just closing it again and moving on, he propped the camera on the floor, pointed it at the door, and went back to his vacuuming. The clip is silent, and that silence is part of what makes it so unsettling. Watch. The right panel of that bifold door begins to move, slowly, steadily, swinging open at a pace that feels almost deliberate, folding back until the closet is fully exposed. No one enters the frame, there's no rush of air, no person, no visible string or mechanism. If you watch the door's movement carefully, you'll notice it doesn't jerk or stutter the way a draft might cause. It moves with a kind of even, unhurried intention that's harder to dismiss. Some viewers familiar with residual haunting theory think older homes can develop patterns of repeated activity tied to whatever energy accumulated there over decades. But you be the judge. Now in this next clip, a man had been sitting alone at his kitchen table, reading from the Bible, not casually, but deliberately, the way someone does when they're trying to hold something back. He had a rosary laid out in front of him, a crucifix, and a small bottle of holy water. He says he picks up regularly from his local Catholic church. He mentions to the camera that he isn't feeling well, and before he starts reading, he anoints his forehead with the holy water and makes the sign of the cross. There's a weight to how he's going through these steps. Like a ritual, he's performed enough times that it's become routine rather than ceremonial. He settles in and begins reading aloud from Psalms 37, verses 3 through 11. Scripture about trust, about dwelling safely, about what faith is supposed to protect you from. But midway through the reading, something happened. Watch.
Inherit the earth. For yet a little while, and the wicked should be no more. Indeed, you will. Gosh! Holy. Bro. That just closed. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, any demon in my office, evacuate now. Look, that's my magic hat. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, and my attic is closed. See? Huh. And it literally dropped my hat. That is crazy. You see, guys, this is what I gotta go through daily. Like literally, daily I gotta go through this crap. I'm so fed up with it.
The door in the background slams shut with a sharp, violent bang. What's harder to dismiss is what he finds on the other side. A baseball cap lying face down on the floor just inside the doorway, which he claims was not there before. He picks it up, shows the camera the front, and says the entity dropped it. He calls his attic door out specifically, showing it secured with multiple slide locks, as if that detail is meant to explain something he doesn't want to say out loud. He ends the clip looking straight into the camera, exhausted, and says this is what he goes through daily. For those familiar with spiritual warfare theology, a violent physical reaction during scripture reading is considered significant. It's interpreted not as random haunting activity, but as direct interference, a presence responding to being named. So what was in that room with him? The following video was recorded by a man who says the knocking never stops, not at odd hours, not in strange weather, and not when he goes to check. It happens at his back door, the one that opens onto a concrete patio, bordered by a chain-link fence and a row of bare trees. On this particular afternoon, he decided to document it, because telling people about it wasn't cutting it anymore. As the knocks come through clearly on camera, sharp, deliberate, and spaced just far enough apart to feel intentional, he moves toward the door, opens it, and steps out. Watch.
Here. Wow. Happens all the time.
The yard is completely empty. No person, no animal, nothing moving anywhere near the door. And yet the moment he steps back inside and pulls the door shut, the knocking starts again, immediately, like it was waiting for him to close it. He says it happens all the time, and after watching this, it's hard to dismiss that. Some believe this kind of persistent, sourceless knocking is associated with what certain traditions call a threshold entity, something that exists near doorways and boundaries, drawn to the liminal space between inside and outside. Skeptics will point to pipes, wind, or settling wood, but the knocking in this clip responds directly to his movement, which makes those explanations harder to hold on to. Now the second clip in this set escalates things considerably. A woman is at home at night when her dogs begin reacting to something near an interior door, the large one emitting a deep, sustained growl, the smaller one, Davy, running nervously around the room. She says it just happened again, which tells you this isn't the first time. She's been here before. Listen closely.
Okay. It just happened again and the dogs are freaked out. Get it. Davy, come over here. Get it. You be right there. Something opens that fucking door, you need to get him. Oh my god, I don't know if it's gonna happen again. It just fucking happened again. Move, 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 move! Fucking nobody there! The dog stopped fucking barking now. Davy's freaking the fuck out by the door though. What is it? There's nobody out there. I'm not opening the fucking door anymore.
Two loud, sharp knocks hit the door, and both dogs lose it. She opens the door onto an empty porch, lit by a single light. Nobody there. Nothing moved, except for a bouquet of artificial flowers knocked onto the floor. She checks a second door, scans the dark yard, finds nothing, and eventually says she's not opening the door anymore. What makes both of these clips so difficult to dismiss together is the shared detail. The knocking always comes from a door, always sounds deliberate, and always leads to an empty space on the other side. For some viewers, that pattern points to something territorial, something that understands what a door means and uses it intentionally. Others think the animal's reactions are the most telling part, since dogs are widely believed to perceive things outside the range of human senses. If you've been following similar cases, like and subscribe if you're enjoying watching this video. Whatever is doing this clearly isn't interested in being seen, only heard. And after two clips, one during the day and one at night, the pattern hasn't changed at all. Now in this next clip, a group of men decide to explore an abandoned industrial building in Canada, known as the Sunshine Palace, a place that, even before anything strange happens, already has enough going for it to make most people turn around at the door. There's a man living inside named Al, who's been there since early 2005, and he's described run-ins with police dogs, and encounters in the dark that were frightening enough to make him physically leave the building on more than one occasion. The investigators are moving through the space with flashlights, documenting the decay, mold on the floors, rusting machinery, asbestos warnings on the walls, when they come across something that stops them cold. Scattered across the concrete near one of the large industrial machines is a wide, wet-looking dark red splatter. Then more of it on the machinery itself. Then a tray on the floor nearby with what appears to be raw flesh sitting beside another pool of the same substance. The men confirm it smells like blood. They start talking about leaving. Then, from somewhere deeper in the building, the sounds start. Watch.
These rooms all stuff quite good, eh? I got the owner's manual, it's alright. I know what I'm doing. Okay, step back, I know how to work this machine. That's how you fix it. This is fucked up. Start the asbestos. Let's get out of here. Hey, this wasn't a good idea. I don't want cancer. I didn't sign up for cancer. Hepatitis, sure, but not cancer.
One time I actually got the building and that's good. I fucking thought it was a security guard. And there's a dog barking all the time. It's not a dog barking, it just sounds like a dog barking. It's all one of the police dog barking. It only got me one night either. I was standing in cuffs. I wasn't, and talking about being passive, I was just standing there fucking like, in here all the way around. That thing, when they plant on there, just give me a little squeeze, that thing's gonna flush the fuck with me. Really, they're powerful. Holy shit. They don't care, they'll buy a cop to play me, like you.
Thank you, Mom. Hey. Oh, there's a map. I have acquired the map. Dee-dee-dee-dee. Okay, get this color. But they really needed to hire a decorator.
See all this mold? That's all mold.
We definitely have not been here.
Yeah, I concur.
Smells like blood. Fuck, it's all over the machine. Shit, dude, we shouldn't be here. Don't touch anything here. I don't plan on it. Walk around that. Let's back up to the main room.
Holy fuck. That is blood.
Oh fuck, are you serious? Oh Jesus.
Yeah, why do I gotta go first?
Because you're the little guy.
Good news is nothing's dead.
Look over here.
More blood. Look, there's more on the table. Fuck, there's more rags up here. Let's get out of here.
Kill your lights. I saw Poe drive by.
Chris, let's get out of here before we get AIDS or something. I just want to see you fucking see anything you do.
He'll catch up.
Hazard awareness.
Think this is where they got the sponge?
Chris. Where'd Chris go?
Poe? 5-0?
Keep lights down because we're also near the main street windows.
I'm gonna turn mine off then.
Somebody's here. Somebody is here.
Who's there?
Hello?
Hello?
Watch the light.
Hello?
Hello?
Who's there?
Anybody there?
Let's get out of this door as fast as possible, please. Please. Very fast. Jesus fucking Christ. What's making that noise? Let's get back to that stairwell. Was that there? Whoa. No. Was that there, Jay? No. That was not there. We've only been out of this room for like 10 minutes. Not even. Fuck this shit, man. Are you sure that wasn't there? That was not there. That was definitely not there. Do you want me to roll back the footage and show you? No, let's get the fuck out of here. Stairwell's that way. Let's go.
If you watch the left side of the frame, a dark figure appears to move silently past an opening before disappearing just as quickly as it came. Also, the sounds alone could have been another person. Abandoned buildings are known to attract trespassers, urban explorers, and even people seeking shelter, making that the most straightforward explanation. But the fleeting figure has led others down a different path. Paranormal investigators often describe abandoned factories and industrial sites as locations where reports of shadow figures and unexplained footsteps are unusually common. Some believe places marked by decades of accidents, abandonment, or emotional trauma can retain what they call residual energy, the idea that past events somehow leave an imprint on a location, whether the figure belonged to another person quietly moving through the factory, or whether something else was sharing that building with them. The investigators never stayed long enough to find out. After what they believed was blood and something walking just beyond the light, leaving suddenly seemed like the smartest decision they could make. This next video was recorded inside a home kitchen by what appears to be a high-angle security camera positioned in the corner of the room, capturing everything from a wide, slightly distorted view that misses nothing. It's a completely ordinary afternoon. A man is at the sink washing dishes, singing along to Spanish-language music playing in the background. The whole scene casual and relaxed, in the way that only makes what follows feel stranger. Nothing about this kitchen suggests anything is wrong. Then this happens. Watch.
No sé por qué no estás conmigo, amor, amor, amor prohibido. Whoa. Oh. Money, 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 money. No estás conmigo, amor, amor, amor prohibido. What the fuck? Holy shit. What the fuck was that? Oh, I'm out.
He looks around the room like he's trying to find a rational explanation. That's when it gets worse. The second he leaves the frame, something is violently thrown towards the direction he was standing before. What makes this harder to dismiss is the sequence of it. A small warning first, as if something was testing the space, and then the main event the moment the man turned his back and walked away. Some viewers think the two incidents are connected, like whatever was in that kitchen waited just long enough for him to leave before making its real presence known. Others point to the high chair specifically, noting that in a lot of reported activity, objects associated with children seem to be the focal point. But I'll leave you to be the judge on this one. The following clips come from 3 separate witnesses, each describing something they can't explain. But what connects them is the feeling that whatever they caught wasn't random and wasn't finished. In the first, a woman is reviewing her home security footage late at night, sometime after 2 in the morning, when she notices something that stops her mid-scroll. For hours, the front porch had been completely empty. Nothing on the deck, nothing near the railing, just a quiet wooden porch with a bicycle parked to the side. She scrubs through the timeline, pointing out the nothing, the long stretch of ordinary footage, and then she reaches 2:06 a.m. Watch.
Okay, so it's this morning at 12 a.m., 12:06, and then an hour later, nothing. And then you go a little bit further, and at 2:06, it opens up by its fucking self. And that's his face facing us.
What can I see?
A dark, stooped humanoid figure appears on the porch, not walking into frame, not approaching from the side, just there, standing near the railing, facing the camera as if it had been waiting. She says out loud, "That's his face facing us," and in the background, a child's voice quietly asks to see. That detail alone is hard to shake. Some viewers believe the figure could be a person who wandered onto the property, though the way it materializes without any transition from the preceding frames makes that harder to accept. Others point to the stooped, crouched posture as something that doesn't quite match ordinary human movement captured on infrared. And for those familiar with shadow figure reports, that forward-facing stillness is one of the most commonly described behaviors. Whatever it was, it didn't leave the way it arrived, and she never explained what happened next. The second clip is quieter, but no less unsettling. A woman keeps an old ventriloquist dummy, dated 1973, stored inside a trunk on her porch. She'd placed it a specific way, lying on its back facing one direction. When she went back to check on it, it was facing the other way. Take a look.
He's normally facing this way. This is the way that he's been facing. And then we found him facing this way. So I'm gonna put him back the way he was. He's been out in the rain so many.
She calmly demonstrates the difference, showing how she found it versus how she left it. Her tone matter-of-fact in the way people sound. When something strange has happened so many times, it no longer fully surprises them. Ventriloquist dolls carry an unusually heavy folklore weight. There's a long history of people treating them as objects that can attract or hold residual energy, particularly ones that are old and have passed through many hands. Whether that's superstition or something more is debatable, but the 1973 stencil on that trunk suggests this dummy has been around long enough to collect a story or two. If you're enjoying watching this video, like and subscribe to keep up with everything we cover. The third clip is the one that's hardest to watch. A security or baby monitor camera films a child's bedroom at night. The child asleep in the bottom bunk, covered by a white comforter, completely still. Watch closely. Some viewers think a hidden string could account for the motion, but the force and direction of the pull make that difficult to dismiss casually. Others believe this is exactly the kind of physical interaction that escalates, that it starts with objects, and eventually the person in the room becomes the object. 3 different homes, 3 different witnesses, and in every case, whatever made itself known did so quietly, deliberately, and without explanation. The following video was recorded by a man who had been dealing with a slow and deeply unsettling buildup of strange events inside his home. And what makes his situation different from most is how methodically he documented everything, one clip at a time. It started with something he nearly missed entirely. One night, sitting alone in his dark living room with the TV on, he noticed that when the screen went dark and turned reflective, something wasn't right about what was looking back at him. Watch. In the reflection of the darkened TV screen, a tall, slender, dark silhouette is visible standing directly behind him, a shape he clearly hadn't noticed until that moment, judging by the sharp gasp and panicked camera movement that followed. Many viewers immediately recognized that figure as what's commonly called a shadow person, a term used across paranormal communities to describe dark, human-shaped silhouettes that appear to move or stand with intent, distinct from ordinary shadows because of how they hold their form. Some researchers have linked the phenomenon to cultural traditions far older than the internet, including the Choctaw concept of the Nalusa Falaya and similar entities across Islamic folklore involving the jinn. Others argue it's a product of fear and low light playing tricks on an already anxious mind. But whatever explanation you lean toward, his reaction in that moment was real. That changed everything. Because it turns out the shadow wasn't the only thing he'd been finding in his house. When contractors came to investigate a decomposition smell coming from his basement, what they found sealed inside the foundation wall was disturbing in its own right. Watch.
To show you, honestly. It's a train wreck down here. Since when they decided that wasn't it, they opened up the wall here and didn't find any dead animals, but they did find that, and that's not even the weirdest part. Dude. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm just tripping out or...
Buried in the excavated rubble, he pulls out a rusted horseshoe and then, and this is where his voice noticeably tightens, a collection of large yellowed teeth, possibly human, sitting in the dirt like they'd been placed there deliberately. For some viewers, the horseshoe reads as little more than an old artifact, but teeth hidden inside a home's foundations carry a darker implication. In certain folk magic traditions, objects sealed within the bones of a building, particularly teeth, which carry personal biological material, were believed to bind a spirit or curse to the home's occupants. Whether that's the framework you use or not, the man's voice makes it clear he didn't go looking for this. He was trying to fix a smell. Now the security camera footage he set up around the house was beginning to catch things too. Take a look. In the silent, black and white infrared footage of an empty living room, a book suddenly falls from the top shelf of a large bookshelf with no visible person or force near it. And when he comes back inside about 15 minutes later and picks it up off the floor, the clip ends on a still image of the cover. It's a holy Bible. The fact that it's a Bible rather than any other book, deepened the reaction online considerably. Some viewers pointed to the idea of a demonic presence, specifically targeting or displacing religious objects, a pattern reported in a number of haunting accounts where entities appear to respond to symbols of faith with particular aggression. His dog had also refused to approach the basement door that same night, which he'd noted in previous clips. It didn't stop. By the time he sat down to record himself playing guitar a few nights later, the activity had spread through the entire house. Watch. While he plays, a pale, blurry shape, face-like, faint, is visible in the background behind him, circled in red. The kitchen cabinets were found hanging open, and then, in bedroom footage where he'd been woken by the sound of footsteps, a quiet, raspy, whispered voice is recorded saying, "Your fire's dying," a disembodied whisper that's specific, directed at someone alone in a dark room. That alone is terrifying. Some people familiar with EVP research point out that voices recorded during audio malfunction are sometimes among the clearest captures, as though whatever is present finds a window when the signal breaks. He'd also mentioned the smell from the basement had spread through the entire house by this point, and that birds had been flying into his windows and dying, details that, if true, suggest the environment itself was changing around him. His friends watched this set of clips more than once, and the thread running through all of it is harder to dismiss each time. Which brings us to the most recent footage, captured when he wasn't even home. Watch. Across these 5 clips, whether you read it as shadow entity, residual curse, tied to whatever was buried in that foundation, or something that's been present in that house far longer than he has, the pattern is the same. It's escalating. It's moving through every room, and so far, nothing he's tried has slowed it down. What do you do when the thing in your house already knows your name? This next clip was recorded inside an apartment by a static Wise security camera, sometime just before dawn. The timestamp reads 5:41 in the morning. The owner had already been noticing strange activity throughout the apartment for a while, but whatever was happening that night decided to make itself impossible to ignore. The room is quiet, lit only by the camera's night vision. A black cat is resting near the ottoman in the center of the living room, and nothing about the scene looks out of the ordinary. Then it got worse. Listen closely. In a matter of seconds, 3 things happen, each one more unsettling than the last. The cat is suddenly propelled backward at a speed that has no natural explanation, sliding violently from the living room into the dining room as a sharp scraping sound cuts through the silence. Then, one dining chair is dragged out from under the table on its own. Then a second one follows. The cat's distress is immediate. You can hear it screech and then let out a long, wailing yowl when the second chair moves. Many believe this kind of escalating multi-object activity points to something with a level of physical force that sets it apart from typical haunting reports. Not a flicker of lights or a cold draft, but something aggressive enough to throw a living animal across a room. Skeptics will reach for hidden strings or wires, but the fluid, high-speed movement of the cat is particularly hard to stage. If you watch all 3 events in sequence, they feel purposeful, like something working its way through the space. So what was in that apartment? This next clip comes from a man living in what he describes as a 1920s house, a place packed with taxidermy, Venetian masks, vintage decor, and the kind of heavy atmosphere that makes you wonder if any of it was chosen intentionally. He says strange things have been happening for a while. Noises, objects moving, the usual pattern of low-level activity that's easy to dismiss one incident at a time. But on this particular evening, around dusk, he decided to walk through the house with his phone and document whatever he could. Watch.
There's been sporadic knocking on my front door for a long time now, since about 7 o'clock. I've not managed to catch it yet. Are you knocking on my front door? You can see through the glass as well, so it's a good angle to have. If you're there, knock. Whoa. Whoa. What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? What is that noise? What do you want? Turn the light on. Hello? Hello? I can hear you. Why do you just do this every now and then? What is it you want? Whoa. Oh my god. Shit. Leave my stuff alone. Seem bothered. You alright? You're used to it, aren't you, I suppose? Honestly, stuff like this, even though you do get used to it to a degree, I am shaking like a bloody leaf. And I've gone quite lightheaded as well. Hopefully I managed to catch the knocks on the door anyway to show you. But I've caught the bloody fire guard flying off the fire. What?
If you listen carefully, many people believe they can hear what sounds like a woman's voice, shouting immediately after the knock. The words are impossible to make out, but the sound is distinct enough that it sparked intense debate online. Some viewers suggested the voice could simply be audio pareidolia, the tendency for the brain to find recognizable words or voices within unclear sounds or background noise. Others wondered whether it was a television, a neighbor, or a distant conversation carried into the recording. Paranormal investigators, however, were quick to compare it to what they call disembodied voices, reports of human speech heard without any visible speaker present. These alleged voices are often described as brief, indistinct, and difficult to understand, sometimes occurring immediately before or after unexplained knocks or other disturbances. While there is no scientific evidence supporting these interpretations, unexplained voices remain one of the most frequently reported elements in alleged haunting cases. Whether the sound was simply an ordinary voice picked up at the perfect moment, or whether something inside that century-old house answered back. The timing of the knock and the voice occurring in one day is what many viewers found hardest to explain. Now in this next clip, a woman is filming outside her home late at night, just casually talking to her audience, commenting on how beautiful the night is, though she can't quite see the moon or stars from where she's standing. It's an ordinary moment, relaxed and conversational, with nothing suggesting anything unusual is nearby. Then the camera drifts toward the carport area. Watch.
Malam ini indah sekali, guys. Tapi kalau di sini nggak kelihatan ada bulan sama bintang.
A tall, white, shrouded figure darts out from behind a support post and moves rapidly across the frame before vanishing behind a dark object, and her scream is immediate and completely unfiltered. Some viewers familiar with Indonesian folklore immediately pointed to a pokong, a spirit from Javanese and Sundanese tradition said to appear as a corpse still bound in its burial shroud, the white cloth tied at the head and feet. Others think it's staged, but that scream doesn't wait for permission. The following video was recorded late one night, when a man was walking through his home with his phone out, already frustrated by something that had apparently become a recurring problem. From the way he talks about it, and especially his complaint that his water bill has climbed to around $600 a month, this clearly wasn't the first time he'd found the water running by itself. He moves through the living room, down the hallway, and into the bedroom before pushing open the bathroom door. Watch.
Why my water bill's $600 a month. Woo, woo, woo. Again, I'm standing right here. I don't know what you want me to do, Bob. See, nothing in here, man. Nothing. Time to move. It's time to fucking move.
Just as he steps back through the bathroom door, the sink faucet erupts on its own. Full pressure, no warning, and he stumbles back with a string of startled sounds before rushing over to wrench it off by hand. What makes this harder to dismiss is the pattern. A shower running in an empty bathroom, then a faucet turning on the moment he turns his back. Some believe repeated, unprompted water activity like this points to a presence trying to be noticed, not threatening, but persistent. Others aren't so sure. By the end, he's no longer trying to figure out where the water is coming from. He's standing in his bedroom, still filming, and sounds completely fed up. Time to move, and considering what he says he's been paying in water bills, you can understand why. But if there really is something inside that house responsible for all of it, why does it keep choosing the water? In this next clip, a man sets up a night vision camera alone in an old barn at 12:30 a.m. Not because anything specific had happened yet, but because something about the place had been unsettling him. He tells the camera he can't see his hand in front of his face, that he's a little freaked out, and that he's going to leave it recording for about an hour. Then he closes the heavy door behind him and goes home. The barn sits completely still in the green-tinted night vision frame. Nothing moving, nothing out of place, just a cluttered corner full of old chairs, boxes, and junk. I watch.
Okay, if there's any ghosts, go away. I'm coming to get you. Oh, you're still here. Nobody stole you.
Around 1 a.m., a white wicker rocking chair near the center of the frame begins to rock on its own, slowly at first, then faster, then with enough force that it's thrown violently forward and crashes onto its side on the floor. No one is in the barn, nothing else moves. When he comes back that same night, he finds the camera untouched and takes it home. But the next morning is where things get harder to explain. Watch.
Please, okay, make more noise, please. There's a big animal in here, you get it first. Ah, crap. There's the rocket. Wasn't that tipped over?
Yeah. Where did you have it? Or
Back in
did
that
you have
corner.
it that way?
The chair was tipped over.
Yeah,
And now it's back up.
Hmm?
Go pull it once. Careful.
Where? Down
Pull it forward like it went. Is it heavy?
Kinda, yeah.
That's how it went down. A little bit more though, but I'll push it back up to see.
Push it back out.
Well,
It was like set
Well,
on the bar. Can't grab it.
all right, just leave it. Just leave it. All right. Well.
He returns with a woman, and the first thing they both notice is that the rocking chair, the one they watched get thrown to the floor, is sitting completely upright in its original position. She even tries pushing it herself to replicate how it fell, and it doesn't tip easily. That second detail is what really changes the conversation. If the chair had simply rocked and fallen because of an unstable floor, you might expect it to remain where it landed. Instead, something appears to have happened between the moment the camera stopped recording and the moment they returned. Paranormal believers would likely describe this as intelligent interaction, not just an object moving, but an object apparently being disturbed and then returned to its original position. Skeptics, however, would point out that the footage doesn't show what happened after the man left, meaning someone could have entered the barn, moved the chair, or interacted with the camera without being recorded. But if the barn really remained locked and untouched overnight, then there's one question that becomes difficult to ignore. Whatever knocked that chair over, why did it put it back? In this next clip, a father is filming what he calls their morning routine. His daughter settled into a pink saucer chair, NES controller in hand, working through a round of Dr. Mario on a vintage CRT television. It's a genuinely warm little moment, but if you pull your eyes away from the girl for a second, you'll notice what's sitting directly behind the TV, a collection of large porcelain dolls, their painted faces frozen mid-stare, wide-eyed and completely still. positioned like they're watching everything in the room. Watch.
A little morning routine now. At least she's into the classics. Little Dr. Mario. Blah. Yeah, I see you, baby. By the way, those Pop-Tarts are gross, y'all. The Eggo Pop-Tarts, so nasty. But yeah, just wanted to show y'all. Starting out early reminds me of when I was little.
If you look closely, a cup shifts inside the cabinet without anyone standing anywhere near it. There's no visible hand reaching toward the cabinet, no person walking past it, and none of the other objects appear to react. Skeptics could point to vibration, an uneven shelf, or a cup that wasn't properly balanced against the others. But paranormal viewers noticed something else about the setting. The cup moves in a room filled with porcelain dolls, objects that have long been surrounded by folklore about spirit attachment. The belief that spirits can attach themselves to dolls is deeply rooted in paranormal culture, largely because human-like objects can appear almost lifelike while remaining completely motionless. There is, of course, no evidence that dolls attract spirits or cause objects to move. Still, when you watch that cup shift while the little girl sits completely unaware in front of the television, surrounded by those silent porcelain faces, the timing is difficult not to notice. The girl keeps playing, the dolls keep staring, and somewhere behind the TV, something just moved. In this next clip, a man visits a cemetery on a bright, sunny afternoon. Not out of fear or curiosity, but out of love. He's come to put flowers on his grandmother's grave, walking along a corridor of burial niches, talking softly about how every visit here brings him peace, how this is the place where he comes to feel close to her. It's a quiet, ordinary moment, then something interrupts it. Watch.
Pues aquí le vengo a poner flores a mi abuelita y este es el lugar donde ella está, donde yo vengo y me desahogo con ella. Y la verdad que cada vez que vengo me siento súper bien, ¿sabes? ¿Qué? ¿Qué? No, esto es imposible lo que acabo de escuchar yo. No puede ser. ¿Cojones? ¿Qué cojones?
Just after he describes feeling at ease, a single hollow knock rings out from the empty concrete niches beside him. He stops, confused, asking what that was. Then it happens again. 3 sharp, hard raps, louder this time, coming directly from the wall. He runs. You can hear his footsteps, his breathing, his voice breaking as he sprints away. What makes this so hard to dismiss is the location itself. These aren't occupied niches. They're empty, sealed concrete squares with nothing inside them. Some believe knocking from within burial walls is a form of communication from the dead, a way of making presence known to someone they recognize. Others think the sounds are structural, but 3 deliberate knocks from an empty tomb, right as someone is speaking to a loved one, you decide. The following video was recorded inside a hospital at 3 a.m. by a man working the night shift. Someone in blue medical scrubs, stethoscope around his neck, carrying a red biohazard specimen bag, while transporting lab samples across the building alone. He'd been narrating casually as he walked, almost talking himself through it, describing how much he dislikes this particular corridor at this hour, the way the patients are all asleep, the way the polished floors reflect the fluorescent lights in long, repeating streaks, and how the silence down here feels different from the silence everywhere else. Just a quiet, empty hallway stretching ahead of him, lined with parked wheelchairs on one side. Nothing out of place. Watch.
Okay, right now I'm taking labs just across the hospital. We have this really creepy, like, hallway. Here, I'll show you. Yeah, it's 3 a.m. Just walking down this hallway. I mean, it's clean and stuff. It's just odd, I guess. I mean, like, yeah, I don't know. This time of night's always weird at night shift. Like patients tend to be asleep. It's like it's pretty quiet, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't like how quiet it is down here. But yeah, this always takes so much time. It's really annoying. Big part of my shift. Oh, okay. Oh, nope. Okay. Don't know what's happening. Do you guys hear this? What the fuck? What? I think I should stop it. Okay, got it. Weird. I do not remember that being there. Yeah, look, there was no one. It just moved on its own, I guess. Yeah, going a different direction for sure. I do not like this. Yep. Nope.
First, every overhead light in the corridor suddenly flickers and dies, dropping him into near total darkness, with only a faint glow visible at the far end. Then, as the lights stutter back on, a metallic scraping sound starts somewhere around the bend, and a grey two-tiered utility cart rolls out from around the corner on its own, picking up speed as it comes directly toward him, veering into the wall with a loud bang before continuing down the center of the hall. He catches it with his free hand and stands there, genuinely rattled, saying he doesn't remember that cart being there at all. You can hear how quickly his voice shifts, from weary to shaken. Some believe malfunctioning fluorescent lights in older hospital wings can act as triggers for paranormal activity, disrupting whatever energy already exists in high-traffic spaces where death and trauma are routine. Others think the cart and the lights are connected, not coincidence but sequence. What do you think caused that? The following video was recorded by a man who's been documenting what he calls a search expedition at the base of Mount Shasta in Northern California. And by day 5 of that search, he says he found something he wasn't prepared for. According to him, while exploring a tunnel system near the mountain, he noticed a small secondary exit beside a larger cave opening, and before leaving for the night, he placed a trail cam there to run overnight. Mount Shasta has carried an unusually dense weight of legend for decades. Native American tribes have long regarded it as sacred ground, and for generations, the mountain has drawn stories of hidden civilizations, unexplained lights, and encounters that don't fit any conventional explanation. So when this man set up his camera and walked away, he was already operating in a place where strange things have a long history of being reported. He came back the next morning, checked the footage, and this is what it had caught. Watch. At around 1 in the morning, something moves through the brush behind the vegetation, pale, thin, moving on all fours, with long limbs held low to the ground, crossing from right to left in a slow and deliberate crawl. Then it got worse. Seconds later, something rushes the camera directly, and the feed collapses into static. A lot of viewers watching this footage immediately reached for the word crawler, a term that's become common on paranormal forums over the last decade to describe pale, thin, humanoid figures reported moving on all fours, usually in isolated outdoor settings. Others went further and said this looked like something older and harder to name. The audio distortion that builds before the figure even appears is the detail that unsettles people most. That deep, pulsating electronic sound, starting nearly 40 seconds before anything is visible, as if something was already aware the camera was there. By day 7 of the search, he was back at Mount Shasta, this time with what he described as high-end trail cams that transmitted footage directly to the cloud. And according to him, the feeds had been quiet until one of them caught something near the area where an old shipping container had been placed in the field. He mentions health issues and says he's planning to wrap up the search soon, which makes what the camera captures next feel like a goodbye he didn't intend to film. Listen closely.
Hey there. So I am still exploring the volcanic tubes at the base of Mount Shasta. I'm only going to be here a few more days. I'm having some health issues. I'm not quite sure if it's something in the cave that's causing this or if it's just generally not feeling well, but I'm going to wrap it up in a couple days. But I wanted to post this a few weeks back. I had mentioned the fact that before heading up to Northern California, I was going to be putting in some really high-end trail cams. If there was any activity, it would send the signal up to the cloud and I could access it. I had placed these trail cams in and around the area where the shipping container used to be, just in case there was some activity, I could keep an eye on it. I've been checking in on a daily basis and it was pretty quiet, not much going on until this came through, looks like a couple nights ago, and I was downloaded it last night. Not quite sure what this is, but there's clearly some new activity going on where the shipping container used to be.
The same pale, bald, humanoid figure with hollowed-out eyes walks slowly out of the dark toward the camera, closer, then closer still, before lunging at it with a guttural roar, the screen flashing white on impact and dissolving into chaotic close-ups of something pressing against the lens. Skeptics looking at both clips have pointed to the cinematic sound design and the consistency of the creature's appearance across 2 separate days as signs this is a produced series, rather than raw documentation. And honestly, I've watched these back-to-back a few times, and there's a polish to them that's hard to ignore. But for those who've spent time following accounts of unexplained encounters around Mount Shasta, the combination of the location, the underground tunnels, and a figure that doesn't move like anything familiar makes the question harder to shake. Whatever it is, whatever keeps approaching these cameras, it doesn't seem afraid of being seen. So what do you think that was? The following video was recorded by a man who, for a while now, has been dealing with something he can't quite get a handle on inside his home. And the frustrating part isn't just what he claims to have seen, it's that the very cameras he set up to catch it keep failing him. He's got a small white cube-shaped security camera resting on top of a pink candle jar in his living room, and a second one elsewhere in the house, and according to him, neither will show him what they're supposed to be recording. When he tries to pull up the footage, he says all he gets is a black screen. So on this particular afternoon, with natural daylight pouring in through the window blinds, he decides to walk the room himself with a handheld camera and address a viewer's comment head-on. Someone who suggested the movement caught in a previous clip looked like it was pulled by a string. His black dog wanders alongside him the whole time, calm and unbothered. But then, around the 90-second mark, something makes him pause mid-sentence. Watch.
What you doing, Doogie? What you doing? You're like, what you do? What you want? You're so spoiled. You're so spoiled. Well, yeah, camera's not working. It just won't. Ugh. You're my good boy. You're my good boy. I'm a turd. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else to do, y'all. This camera's messed up. And that one over there, I don't even have it uncovered no more. That one won't connect either. Well, it'll connect, but it won't. When it says there's a video or motion, when I go to view the video, it's just a black screen, so I don't know what to I don't know. I don't know if I just seen that or not. We'll find out here shortly, I guess. I just wanted to update y'all, let you know I'm working on these cameras. Here, let me hop off of here. I want to see this. I want to see if I'm tripping or not. Yeah, hold on.
He doesn't say what exactly caught his eye, only that he isn't sure if he just seen that or not. He walks straight toward the window, zooms in on the curtain rod and the top edge of the sheer fabric, and holds the shot there, the curtain completely still, nothing visibly attached, nothing moving. You decide whether that means the skeptics were right, or whether whatever he saw simply stopped before the camera got there. If something was there, it wasn't performing for anyone this time. In this next clip, a couple in their living room are just settling in for a quiet evening watching TV. Nothing out of the ordinary, nothing to suggest anything strange is about to happen. The man is filming from the couch, his partner relaxed beside him, a cat wandering between them, a nature documentary playing in the background. Then he notices something. A ceiling lampshade in the middle of the room is swaying slowly on its own. Not a dramatic swing, just a persistent, gentle, circular motion that doesn't stop. He checks the windows himself. They're closed. Watch.
Alright, so we're just watching TV, and the lampshade's been moving on its own. We've no idea why. There's no window open, there's no reason why it should be moving, but it keeps moving. I have no idea why. So, if someone can explain that to me. Oh, Rory wants to play with his elastic band. But there's no one in the room, there's no reason why it should be moving, but it keeps moving. See? Just trying to enjoy a Starbucks whilst watching David Attenborough, and this is happening.
Maybe like David Attenborough.
Also, for anyone wondering, there's no one over there. There's no one over there. You know, it's still moving. So, someone please explain that to me.
It's the consistency of it that gets under your skin, not a single sway that could be dismissed as a draft, but a continuous, steady movement that keeps going throughout the entire clip. His partner even jokes that maybe it doesn't like David Attenborough. But here's the thing, no heating vent, no fan, no open door is visible anywhere in that room. Some viewers think subtle structural vibrations from a nearby road or appliance could explain it. Others aren't so sure, pointing out that the cat on the coffee table keeps watching the window, as if it's tracking something the camera can't quite reach. So what do you think is moving it? Now in this next clip, a man is home alone late at night when something starts happening at his bedroom door that he can't explain. He films himself first, eyes wide, voice shaking, speaking directly into his phone in Spanish, telling his followers that he lives alone, that there's nobody else in the apartment, and that something is trying to open his door. You can hear the panic in his voice before the camera even turns around. Watch.
Amigo, estoy solo en mi casa y hay alguien que me quiere abrir la puerta. Estoy solo, vivo solo, chabón. Y se está abriendo la manija, es re turbio, mirá. ¿Quién está ahí? ¿Quién quiere abrir la puerta? ¿Quién está ahí?
The door handle moves up and down on its own, rhythmically, persistently, like someone on the other side is working it over and over. He shouts out asking who's there, gets no answer, then throws the door open and tears through the apartment, the hallway, the bathroom, a dark back room, and finds absolutely nothing. No one. The handle moving is one thing, but what makes this harder to dismiss is that the motion is mechanical, deliberate, the kind that requires a physical hand operating a lever. Some viewers think the whole thing was staged with a wire or a string rigged to the handle. Others aren't so sure, pointing out that the frantic search through the apartment reads as completely genuine panic, not performance. So what exactly was working that handle? You decide. In this next clip, security camera footage from the night of October 5th, 2017, captures something unusual, moving through what appears to be a long, narrow, institutional hallway, the kind of corridor that already feels uneasy even when nothing is happening. The timestamp reads 11 past 11 p.m. The hallway is empty, lit by overhead fluorescent light, and by all appearances, nothing should be moving through it at all. Then it starts. Watch. Four times across the span of just over a minute, bright white orbs of light appear at the far end of the hall and travel rapidly toward the camera, dropping to the floor and vanishing before they reach it. The second light form moves in the opposite direction, shooting away down the corridor and disappearing. The fourth behaves differently still, darting erratically before shooting upward toward the ceiling. What's harder to explain is the timing of the third orb. It materializes almost immediately, after a figure briefly crosses the far end of the hallway at around the 59-second mark, appearing in almost the exact same spot they just passed through. Some viewers immediately point to orbs as one of the most commonly reported forms of paranormal energy, believed by many in the ghost hunting community to represent spirits or conscious entities moving through a spy. Skeptics, on the other hand, argue that security camera footage is notorious for catching insects or airborne dust lit by IR sensors, which can produce fast-moving bright anomalies. But the behavior here, 4 separate appearances, different directions, different trajectories, and that timing near the figure makes the insect explanation harder to hold on to cleanly. So what do you think is moving through that hallway? In this next clip, a woman named Marissa has been dealing with something that's been getting progressively harder to explain away. Mysterious bruises, scratches, items disappearing from places she left them, and nights where she can't sleep at all, waking up at 3 a.m. or not sleeping at all. She's documented it before, and viewers from her previous videos have pointed out what they believe are letters visible in the scratches on her skin. But it's the physical injuries that really began to concern people, including a large, dark, raised welt on her stomach that was painful enough to send her to the hospital, where doctors couldn't identify what caused it or offer any explanation. The nurse noted her heartbeat was unusually fast, and she was running close to a fever. At this point, Marissa says she feels like whatever is in her bedroom is escalating, moving from unsettling to something that's actually affecting her body. She reaches a point where she decides to do something she'd been hesitant about. Use a Ouija board as a last resort, this time with a friend named Shanna. Watch closely.
Ready, Nudes? Okay, so how do we do it? We say hello to the spirit or what?
Is there a spirit in this room?
Oh my god. Are you male or female?
That looks like an F to me.
That does look like an F.
Do you have a message for us?
H
E
he
L.
Uh-oh.
Hell? Oh my god, please don't be hell.
Maybe it's like the devil.
Help?
Help.
Help.
Is it gonna
Help
say
with
something
what?
else? Like help what?
Maybe we should ask it something else. What do we ask it?
Is this room haunted?
Yes. Oh my god. Oh my god, do you hear that?
Yeah.
Sushi's scratching at the door. Ask it something else. Is anything bad gonna happen to me?
Are you moving it?
No, I'm not moving it.
Me neither.
I'm not moving it.
Well, I'm definitely not moving it.
Oh my god. I did not do that.
I didn't do that either. Oh my god, that's really scary. I want to stop playing.
We should say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, Ouija.
The session shifts from curious to genuinely unsettling almost immediately. When asked if there's a spirit in the room, the planchette slides to yes. When asked if the spirit is male or female, it moves to F. And when they ask for a message, it begins slowly spelling something out. H, E, L, and then the women start to panic, assuming it's spelling hell until the final letter lands on P. Help. That single word, spelled out letter by letter in a dark candlelit room, is the kind of thing that's hard to walk away from. Then the planchette gets knocked completely off the board, right after confirming that nothing bad is going to happen to Marissa, and both women immediately deny doing it. Their reactions, the gasping, the audible fear, the insistence that neither of them caused it, all feel spontaneous rather than staged. Skeptics would point to the ideomotor effect, a well-documented psychological phenomenon where people unconsciously move objects they're in contact with, including planchettes, without realizing they're doing it. Under that explanation, the word help could simply be the product of two frightened women's subconscious fears playing out through their fingertips. But that explanation doesn't quite account for the physical injuries Marissa described, the ones doctors at an actual hospital couldn't identify or explain. Some viewers familiar with demonology point out that the combination of physical marks appearing on someone's body, sleep disruption, and a spirit identifying itself as female through a board session follows a pattern they associate with attachment rather than a residual haunting, meaning whatever it is, according to that interpretation, isn't just lingering in the space, it's focused specifically on Marissa. Others think the scratches and bruises could still have mundane explanations, and that the Ouija session, whatever its cause, shouldn't be treated as confirmation of anything darker. If you've ever used a Ouija board, you probably already have an opinion on what you just watched, but the injuries, the ones with no diagnosis and no explanation, those are harder to file away. What caused them, and why does it keep getting worse? The board said nothing bad is going to happen to her. Whether that's reassuring or the most unsettling part of the whole session is something only Marissa can answer. In this next clip, a man is lying in bed filming his dark room on his phone, and what he catches sitting in the chair across from him has people seriously unsettled. The room is nearly pitch black, lit only by the faint glow of his screen, and from the moment the video starts, you can already hear how hard he's breathing. A figure is hunched over in a wooden-armed chair, dressed head to toe in black, with a balaclava completely covering its face, totally still. Not a single movement. He keeps the camera trained on it, hoping it stays that way. Watch.
I was on TikTok in my room when I heard something. I was hoping this fish didn't move.
The figure snaps upright and whips its head directly toward the camera in one sharp, unnatural movement, and his reaction is immediate panic. That jerk is what gets people. It's not slow, it's not gradual. It happens in an instant, the kind of speed that doesn't feel quite right for a person just waking up. Some think whoever, or whatever, was in that chair knew exactly when to move. Others aren't convinced it was a person at all. So what was sitting in his room? This next clip was filmed by a group exploring the Jesuitas Tacum, a wooded area in Santa Fe, Argentina, locally known as one of the old Jesuit forests, a place rumored to have once served as a cemetery, and one that carries a reputation for ritual activity that the cameraman, by his own admission, didn't entirely believe going in. He's filming on his phone at dusk, walking a dirt path deeper into the woods with a small group that includes another man in a white t-shirt, a woman in a black top, and 2 young children. Almost immediately, they find something on the ground near the base of a large tree, a dead black chicken, apparently sewn shut, the kind of thing left deliberately. The man in the white t-shirt picks it up at the cameraman's request, and what you see confirms this wasn't an animal that simply wandered off and died. The cameraman keeps pushing forward, narrating calmly, pointing out what he thinks might be old grave markers through the trees. Still skeptical, still filming. Watch.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Buenas noches. Aquí comenzamos un programa más. Bueno, acá en este canal de YouTube. Estamos en uno de los bosques de lo llamado jesuita, en uno de los bosques que, bueno, acá en la ciudad de Santa Fe de Capital, en Argentina precisamente. Se comenta de que hubo un cementerio en un tiempo. La verdad es que yo no creo mucho porque tengo 30 años recién y la verdad que no tengo noción de lo que pasó acá. Salimos en un recorrido hace un momento con la familia y bueno, ya que estamos, quise hacer la toma del video para corroborar si la verdad lo que dicen de este supuesto cementerio es cierto. Dice que a esta hora más o menos de la noche, ya son aproximadamente 7:30 de la tarde, se aparecen cosas, se escuchan cosas, se ven, por ejemplo, acá hacen todo lo que hay gualichos. Acá pueden ver, pueden corroborar que hay un animal, miren, un animal muerto también, de los gualichos que se hacen acá en esta zona. ¿Lo puedes levantar, por favor? Sí. ¿Ves? Este animal lo sacamos ahora estamos viéndolo recién. Si ustedes aprecian ahí en el pecho, tiene una cosida, seguramente que en la cosida esa que tiene ahí, estilo como algo quirúrgico, acá dice que le ponen fotos, le ponen imágenes para hacer hechicería y esas cosas. Así que bueno, seguimos caminando, vamos a seguir viendo en el bosque. Se dice que se escuchan gritos, se escuchan llantos. La verdad es que no creo mucho yo, pero bueno, allá pueden apreciar de aquel lado, están las tumbas. Se nota, se puede apreciar las tumbas de aquel lado. Pero bueno, vamos a ver de qué se trata. Se ven imágenes, Yo la verdad no creo nada, les vuelvo a repetir, yo no creo nada. Pero bueno, vamos a ver de qué se trata, vamos a ver qué onda. Así que bueno, vamos a ver de qué se trata. Ahí se puede ver uno de los... Allá atrás se puede apreciar, no sé si alcanza la toma de mi celular, porque mi celular es un celular muy bajo en resolución. Pero bueno, vamos a caminar a ver si podemos ver algo. Tenía también enterado de que tenía también en conocimiento de que no solamente se ven esas cosas, sino que se ven como brujas volando. Yo no creo en realidad en brujas, pero se ven cosas volando, así que bueno, no se ve nada. Así que lo que yo pensaba es cierto, no hay nada en estos lugares. Así que bueno, sigamos. Tamara. Sí. ¿Cómo era? ¿Jesuita? ¿Cuánto se llamaba esto?
Jesuita
Bueno,
Tacum.
Jesuita Tacum. Ahí estamos con la familia caminando, recorriendo todo. Saludos, saludando.
Mirá.
No, esto de no creer, esto de no creer, vamos. Corran. La verdad que no me lo podía esperar, no me lo esperaba. La verdad que no lo esperaba, pero acabamos de ver era como un duende, no sé qué, corriendo. Así que vamos a ahí se ve. La verdad que se mueve, está en movimiento. La verdad que Jesús de Nazaret. No, vamos, corran. Agarrale.
There are two things that happen in this clip that are hard to talk past. The first is the brief blue-green orb that appears beside a tree trunk around the 2-minute mark and vanishes within a second. Small, bright, and nothing like light catching a leaf or a lens flare. The second is what sends the entire group running. A tall, pale, thin, humanoid shape, standing between two trees in the low light, blurry and distant, but distinctly not a tree trunk. The cameraman himself calls it a duende, a term used across Latin American folklore to describe a small goblin-like figure, though what's visible here looks anything but small. Others in the comments pointed towards something connected to the gualichos, a word used in Argentine folk tradition to describe dark ritual workings or curses, suggesting whatever was left in that forest may have drawn something in. The children are in the frame when they run. That detail alone doesn't leave you easily. The following video was captured at dusk, somewhere over a remote stretch of hilly landscape. The terrain below is dry and rocky, the kind of isolated stretch where you don't expect much of anything to be happening overhead. But something was. Watch. A thin, dark, vertically elongated object hangs completely motionless in the sky above the ridge. No wings, no rotors, no drift. Nothing that explains how it stays there. The person filming zooms in, holds on it, and it doesn't move once, not even slightly. Skeptics have suggested it could be a kite or an unusual balloon, but what's harder to dismiss is the shape. Narrow, rod-like, and perfectly still against a moving, clouded sky. Some viewers call objects like this rods or skyfish, a loose category of aerial anomalies that have appeared in footage for decades without a satisfying explanation. What do you think was hanging over that hill? In this next clip, a woman is conducting a late-night paranormal investigation, not in an abandoned building or a historic location, but at home, seated across from a large, realistic doll with red curly hair and a wide, frozen smile. The doll's name is Christy, and she's been holding on to her for a while now, long enough to set up a full investigation around her, a REM pod on the floor, an EMF meter flickering between Christy's feet, a spirit box running, and a flashlight placed directly in the doll's inanimate hand. She starts by asking Christy to prove she's present. Watch.
Christy, can you show me you're here right now? Good job. Can you touch your favorite tool? Definitely the REM pod. Can you turn that off? Can you turn it back on? Good job. Can you hold it down on your favorite color, honey? It's black, but you said green. And green, black and green. Wow, that's going really fast. The sweep rate. Were you in the army? You can use these words in this app to communicate anything you want to me. Are you able to piece them together to tell me how you passed away? Ammo? Did somebody SHOOT you? Yeah. Are you 28? Christy, how can I help you? Is there anything you want to tell me right now?
The REM pod responds almost immediately, lighting up and sounding a full alarm. Then the flashlight in the doll's hand turns on, switches off, and turns back on, each time appearing to follow the woman's verbal requests. When the spirit box session begins, the responses start specific. Favorite colors, a direct yes or no exchange, and then something much heavier, what sounds like a confirmation that Christy was shot and died at the age of 21. What makes that harder to dismiss is the moment the woman mentions her own back pain, and the box, seconds later, produces the words, "her back hurts." That's either a remarkable coincidence or something picking up on details it shouldn't have access to. But then the tone shifts entirely. The later responses, interpreted as ammo back, do it, push, don't tell her, suggest something that isn't simply communicating, it's giving instructions. If you focus on the progression of the session, it moves from playful and responsive to something that sounds almost like it's planning something. Skeptics will point to spirit box apps being built around radio frequency sweeps that produce random audio fragments, which the human brain naturally assembles into meaningful patterns, a well-documented phenomenon called apophenia. But the timing of specific responses, especially the back pain moment, is the kind of detail that's difficult to write off cleanly. Some viewers think Christy isn't just haunted, they think whatever is attached to her has been waiting for the right moment to say exactly what it said. What do you do when the doll starts asking for revenge? Now in this next clip, a man is alone at his workplace, a store he's in the middle of closing for the night, when something he can't explain makes physical contact with him. He's been noticing strange activity in the building lately, sounds he can't account for, a feeling that something is present even when the aisles are completely empty. And tonight, it finally pushed past whatever boundary had been keeping it at arm's length. The store is dark except for the artificial glow of the refrigerator displays and the overhead lights, and he's the only person there. Watch.
Oh, no, I just got touched. Nope. Okay, so I'm here at work. Bro, I'm telling you, you heard that, right? I'm closing. And I'm like hearing stuff, bruh. I'm like closing right now, and I'm hearing, bruh, come on, man. Nobody's in here. I'm literally closing. Yo. I don't know what's going on with this thing, but it's been like really active here lately. Just wanted to show you guys. There's nobody in the store but me.
Almost immediately, you can hear the panic in his voice as he says he just got touched by something he couldn't see. And as he moves through the aisles with a shaky camera, two separate audio anomalies stand out. A faint, breathy whisper underneath his speech, and later, a sharp, clipped vocalization near the front of the store that he reacts to instantly. The clicking sound from the dark back room is harder to dismiss, too, especially since it stops the moment he checks. Some viewers pointed to the mimic label when describing what they heard, a term used in paranormal communities to describe entities believed to manipulate sound and voice to draw people toward them or provoke reactions. Others went further, calling it demonic, a word that carries weight across multiple belief systems, from early Mesopotamian tradition all the way through modern Christian theology, where demons are understood as entities that act with deliberate intent. The store's security monitors show every corner of the building. Nothing else is in there with him. So what touched him? This next video comes from a man who decided to document what had been happening inside his home late at night. A house that, on the surface, looks completely ordinary. Toys are scattered across the floor, a dining table sits in the center of the room, and a red rocking horse rests quietly in the corner. But before showing the activity itself, he takes a moment to explain why he believes the footage is so difficult to dismiss. He opens the settings for his Xbox Kinect sensor, demonstrating its built-in infrared camera and depth sensing technology, showing that even in complete darkness, it can map the room with remarkable clarity. His point is simple. If someone were standing in the room, the camera should be able to detect them. Watch.
Hey you guys, I just wanted to show you guys a pretty quick feature of the Xbox One and its Kinect. It actually has a pretty cool night vision that I just found today. And if you guys already know it has night vision, then I'm going to show the people who don't know. So, right now it's completely dark in this house right now. All you can basically see is my Xbox One controller. Now I'm going to switch on the night vision for you guys. As you can see, it lights up the whole room. It's actually a pretty cool feature. I don't know if they have an app for this or whatnot, but they also have this version of the camera. I don't know what it is. I think it's either infrared or something like that. And then back to dark. As you can see, all you can see is my Xbox controller. And then back to night vision. It's actually, pretty cool feature for the Xbox Kinect that I haven't really heard of until now. Maybe they have an app for it or something like that. But yeah, thanks for watching.
If you look closely toward the right side of the screen, a dark, human-shaped figure appears to lean out from behind the wall, as though quietly watching him. It remains visible for only a brief moment before withdrawing back into the darkness. The figure has become the focus of the clip. Some viewers believe it's simply a shadow created by the Kinect's infrared imaging, or a distortion caused by the depth sensor struggling in low light. Others argue the movement is too deliberate, comparing it to reports of shadow figures, dark, humanoid forms frequently described in paranormal accounts as silently observing people before disappearing. While there is no scientific evidence supporting such claims, shadow apparitions remain one of the most commonly reported phenomena in alleged haunting cases. The second recording takes the investigation even further. This time, he's moving through the house alone, repeatedly calling out for someone named Alvin as he searches each room. At first, he sounds more annoyed than frightened, but that changes almost immediately. Around 12 seconds into the recording, a children's toy begins playing a slow melody entirely on its own from somewhere in the dark living room. He follows the sound until he spots a single flashing orange light. Before he can even reach it, a second toy suddenly activates across the room, playing a completely different tune. Now 2 toys are operating at the same time. He calls Alvin's name again. No answer. He checks the kitchen, the hallway, a closed bedroom door, even the garage. The house appears to be empty. Watch.
Get weird as shit happening. Alvin. Fuck. Shit ain't funny anymore, man. Alvin. Shit ain't funny, man. Alvin. Hey, bro. Oh, what the fuck? Oh, shit. Oh, what the fuck?
Skeptics point out that battery-powered toys are known to activate unexpectedly. Failing batteries, faulty wiring, moisture, pressure switches, and motion sensors can all cause electronic toys to turn on without anyone touching them. Those who believe the house may be haunted see something more significant. In paranormal folklore, children's toys are often reported as alleged trigger objects, items said to respond during periods of unexplained activity because of their lights, sounds, or perceived connection to youthful energy. There is no evidence supporting that belief, but it has become a recurring theme in countless haunting reports. Whether the toys malfunctioned or whether something unseen was moving through that living room, the image that lingers isn't the music. It's that brief, silent figure peeking around the corner, watching him long before the toys ever began to play.